All right, welcome back to our favorite stuff. TJ Garrett and Robert Keenan with you here. Our song that we entered with is Vander Veer Park by Eugene Levy, which is an interesting band name considering famous actor and all.
It's the actor?
Yeah, it's the star from Christmas Vacation.
I thought you were the actual dude in the movie.
No.
I haven't seen that movie in like 5 years.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, it was an interesting song. Really good song. Interesting title. So happy Halloween, October 28th, nearing Halloween. Robert, what are you going to be for Halloween?
Nothing.
Okay. All right,
I hate Halloween.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
No, I'm being honest. I'm not going to tell you a lie.
Thanks for that little tidbit. So for our Halloween special, we have guest number 2, second week in a row. We have a horror writer with us today, Dale Long. How's it going?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Great to have you on. So Dale is not only a horror writer, but he's also my girlfriend's father, so that's why he's here. He had no choice. He had to show up. He had no other choice. So with Halloween coming up, we decided to have him on because what better to have on than a horror writer?
A ghost.
Okay, I mean, we could have had a ghost on.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
if you gave me enough lead time, I might have been able to find one.
Do you have any dead people?
I'll dig one up. I could dig one up somewhere.
All right, we're not going to incriminate anybody on this show of robbing graves. So tell us a little about yourself, Dale. Not all listeners might know.
I guess I'm a horror writer. I'm old school. I'm a fan of like Edgar Allan Poe and Mary Shelley and the old school atmospheric horror. Yeah. Even though I grew up in the 80s with like Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff, and all my friends were like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch this movie." Yeah, I was going, "Yeah, that's all right," but I like the old stuff. So I write that. I write middle grade ghost stories because I was influenced by Scooby-Doo a lot as a kid. I love that glow in the dark toys. Love that stuff.
Well, it's got more of like a classic ghost feel, right? When you talk about Scooby-Doo and stuff like that. It's more of your like classic, like kind of like just normal ghost stories. You know what I mean? So
yeah, those albums you used to get that had all the haunted house sounds on it. And
yeah, all the creaking doors and Grandma and Grandpa used to have those.
Yeah, they used to go like all out in Halloween.
Yeah, all out. The whole house would be decorated inside and out, and like there was this one room where they would have like this dark room, and it would just have a recording, like a tape. Do you not remember this?
I don't think so. I think you're going way too far back for me.
It was this recording, like an old JVC like CD player, and they'd pop the CD player in, and it would just play like ominous music and like ha 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 ha, like chanting in the background,
bubbling.
They would just play that all hours of the day. I'm like, that's not creepy.
All I remember is that chest that you'd open it up and it'd yell at you something about Halloween, and you'd take some candy.
Yeah, that was for actual like trick or treating.
That's the only thing I really know.
My dad used to do that for our girls and my sister and brother's kids, and he would decorate the shed on the old house. So you would go in through the shed and up the stairs and into the kitchen, and he would deck the inside of that shed out with black lights and ghosts that would giggle and jiggle when they're laughing, and the kids were so terrified of it, and he had so much fun setting it up.
There was one year when we were trick or treating. There was a haunted house where you'd go through, you know, they built like a haunted house in their garage, but they had like tunnels around the outside of their garage.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to walk through this tunnel and people would jump out at you. And the scariest thing was this guy had this working chainsaw that he just took the blade off, but it was still working. You could smell the gas and everything. So he'd run at you with what you would think is a working chainsaw.
It's kind of smart, though, if you think of it.
Yeah, it would run and everything.
Take the blade off? Because you're not going to see the blade if they're coming at you in the dark with a chainsaw, right?
You take the chain off, and you still got the blade sticking out of it.
And the blade still turns. It still does all its stuff. So that's how you would exit the haunted house. Is you would pull that out and run after you, and you'd run out of the garage, and they'd give you candy and say, "See you later."
That's sadistic, bro.
It's scary, dude. I was like 11. Like
you were 11?
Yeah.
Oh man,
like that was awful.
I remember they had my granny and papa had that. It was like the bowl, and it had the claw hand, the skeletal hand. And you went to go take the candy, and it hit your hand, and that just scared me. Yeah. I used to like not even take candy, even though I really wanted it because I was scared.
Or
the one with the witch. Do you remember that one with the wart? You press the wart in her nose or whatever. Ugh.
Yeah. I don't like that. The hand one, they wouldn't take the batteries out sometimes. You'd walk by it in the middle of the night, and it would just be like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, that's scary.
What the hell?
Oh, my God, dude. That was the worst.
Shit out of me, dude. Like it.
It was a loud thing, too. It wasn't quiet.
Yeah. Oh, the Halloween stuff is very loud. I like to go through the grocery stores when they got it out and press all the buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when we were in Staples, and we ran down the aisle and pressed all the That Was Easy buttons?
No.
Me and you ran down the aisle and pressed like.
How long ago was this? What, like 8 years this time?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But you were young. We ran and pressed all the buttons.
Yeah, it was like 7.
That was easy. That was easy, and it like lit up the whole aisle.
Well, they got some really cool Halloween decorations now. I mean, I've picked up a couple for when we decorate the table when we're out selling books and stuff. Yeah. And I've got a crow in a cage, and if you walk by it, his eyes glow, and he flaps and he caws. I wanted him to say nevermore, but he doesn't. Yeah. And I got this. It's a bust of Edgar Allan Poe, only if he was a vampire, and his eyes glow.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And I got this skull telephone that it rings, and you pick it up, and it goes, "I gotcha now."
That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Especially because you said you loved Edgar Allan Poe as so that kind of fits with your whole theme of your writing and everything.
There was one. It was from Bed Bath & Beyond or something like that. Or what's the other one that's similar to it?
Winners?
Maybe Winners. They had one year that was a Frankenstein bust, and I wanted it, but they just wanted way too much money for it.
Yeah, well, some things with holidays are also overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes with the holiday actual factor is that it's overpriced, and people will buy it because it's Halloween. You got to buy something.
Oh yeah.
So
yep.
So speaking about Edgar Allan Poe and stuff, like, did you have any inspirations when you were younger, like, to get into horror? Like, what attracted you to horror?
Actually, that's pretty funny. I don't remember as a child ever being inspired to write. I had no idea. In fact, I'm pretty sure my high school English teacher would be shocked and dismayed to find out that I was a writer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got 61 in an English course, and I almost handed it back to him and said, "That's too high." I passed, but something about English in high school I just didn't get. But I always loved the Scooby-Doo shows. They had my favorite cartoons were always like Scooby-Doo, and later on they had the Groovy Ghoulies.
Okay.
Which is all cartoon monsters, and then later on, of course, there was, as I was getting older and teenager, it was the real Ghostbuster cartoon, and stuff like that. That kind of stuff. But I didn't know I wanted to actually write horror until I was in my I took 2 creative writing courses through Durham College. And on the first one, I wrote an article, and it was funny, and the teacher loved it, said, "You've got a real knack for this." And I said, "Okay, well, I've done that now. I've proven that I can write humor. What else can I do?" Yeah. And I sort of drifted into it. It started off as they said, "Write a book report." And where my brain went was I wanted to write a book report, as in when Mary Shelley first wrote Frankenstein and handed it to Lord Byron to read and have his reaction to reading Frankenstein.
That's a pretty cool view on it.
Written by a 19-year-old girl, and his reaction right off the bat. And that got me into the research of her and the time period and everything. And from there, it just went, okay, I've got to write. Essentially, I write gothic horror, I guess it would be.
Yeah. So there was no, like, what was your first, like, because, like, you got into it through creative writing, but, like, what was your, like, who do you model your style after? Like, was there anybody like that, or that you would read horror books and you'd go, you know what, I want to kind of write this way, or? The one, now, it wasn't a horror book. The first book that I remember, my dad used to read to us at night, and the first book that scared the living pants off of me, and we couldn't hear it all at once, was, believe it or not, Hardy Boys. Really?
The Clue of the Screech Owl, or the Barn Owl, the Screech Owl or something. There's a Screech Owl in it, and it scared me.
So it was a mystery novel that scared the crap out of you. Yeah.
And then, like I said, from there it was, you got the glow-in-the-dark skeleton, and I always loved the haunted mansion, the old Victorian, especially, believe it or not, I think of Christmas Carol as a ghost story.
Okay, yeah.
The Christmas Carol is a ghost story.
Yeah.
It's got the foggy streets. It's got the creaky old houses. It's got chain rattling and everything like that. If anything, I would say I was kind of a little bit of Hound of the Baskervilles. So, Sherlock Holmes.
Okay, yeah.
And The Christmas Carol. Kind of a mixture of that. I love the atmospheric, foggy streets and old houses and
yeah, because you describe yourself as more of an atmospheric horror writer. It's not typical. Like I remember we were just talking before how you explained to us that you're not really you're not like a gruesome kind of guy. Like you're not type to write like, oh, it's like a bloodbath kind of. Like, you're not like a Quentin Tarantino book writer. You're more of like the creepy factor.
I always found when reading stuff, when a writer left it off the page, and you had to, as a reader, fill in the gaps.
Okay, yeah.
They would never overtly describe it. It was always, to me, more terrifying. Because when I read a book, it's, I don't know if you guys run into the same thing, but when I read a book, it's a good book. The words disappear, and it plays out like a movie in my head.
Oh yeah,
you don't remember reading or turning pages. You're just watching this.
Especially
movie
a good book, you're just kind of into it, and you find yourself when you put it down, and you go, okay, now I got to go back to reality, and you got like this stunned thought, this stunned look, like, oh, this isn't reality I was just in the last hour. Like this is completely different.
Oh, exactly.
Did you find that? You've read quite a bit, Robert.
Yeah, I've read a lot.
Like, is there any book that you had that for you? Like, kind of like.
I don't know. My favorite book's a graphic novel, so I don't really have to do the work for it.
Yeah,
it kind of does the work for me. But yeah, a good book will help you. It'll almost like paint a picture for you, and you don't have to like read it super closely, and like it just kind of like does it itself. A book that's like, there's some books I'll read. Books that get the reread parts over and over because it doesn't do a good job of painting the picture. Those books suck. Books that do a good job of explaining what's going on. Giving examples of what the setting is, what time it is, what all that, so it just kind of appears in your head, are the best books.
You also got to be careful too, because like you don't want to explain the crap out of something. Like you don't want to.
I'm not trying an over explanation over an under explanation.
Sometimes like you can lose me though, because like if I know that there's a full page of writing, and half of it's description, I go, okay, description, I get it, and then I skip ahead. And then I find myself, going, I miss detail because I'm not paying attention. I just, this is all descriptive. I don't need it. And I throw it out. And I don't know whether it's just the way I read, but.
Yeah, in writing, they call that an info dump.
Oh, yeah.
When the writer is trying to fill you in on details that they want you to know, so they dump 2 pages worth of what they call info dump. And in other ones, terminology, we do a lot of editing of stories, and sometimes you go, wow, this is what we call full stop description, where the action is moving along, the person walks into the room, and then it's like they stop dead in the door and describe in full detail the whole interior of the room. So you got a page and a half of room detail before the action picks up.
Yeah, you got people like on their way to the climax of the story, and they've got to stop. It's almost like that stop of like a roller coaster. Like you're at the top and they hold you there. It's just like, hey.
Sometimes they hold you too long.
Yeah, exactly. You want to go. You're like, hey, I'm ready. I don't need to hold like any longer.
Yeah, it's funny because when I write I have a co-writer, and we were writing 2 series, and he is what we call visceral, and a visceral writer, and I'm the one who does the atmospheric stuff. So, and the 2 of us try and combine that to make it sound like
make an ultimate ultimate horror book,
and both of those are horror.
You need both aspects, because you can't just have. It's the same with horror movies. It's the exact same. Like you can't just have it all creepy, like oh, this is really eerie, because then it's not the full effect. You need something to be afraid of almost. Like you can be creeped out, but without like the other half of it, without the other like fear driving factor, which is probably what your co-writer brings. It's not complete in my mind.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a build up to all this creepiness, and there's no like nothing's being built up.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're creeped out, but it's not enough for you to like keep the light on when you sleep. You know what I mean? You need that like fear driver, which is probably what your co-writer brings, right?
So his name's Tobin Elliott, by the way. Read his books; they're good.
Yeah. So. Speaking of movies, there's a question that I had a thought of, because I didn't know if horror writers, or any writers for that fact, looked at like the same genre they write and look at the way the movies are adapted, and they go, okay, that style is a little different. Like, do you look at any movies per se, but horror in general, like old horror movies compared to new horror movies? Like, do you have a preference when it comes to that? Like, are anyone done better, or?
The old horror movies, unfortunately, a lot of them aged very well.
No.
It's more nostalgia now to watch them, but they do a lot of other things right in it. I mean, a lot of them are based off of classic horror stories. They set the scene, I think, a little bit better than some of the modern stuff does. It's unfair because as a writer, I can't watch a movie anymore without going, I was watching Doom.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch Doom. I love Doom. And The Rock was in it. And I went, okay, The Rock and Carl Urban, two of my more favorite actors. How can they do anything wrong? And about halfway through the movie, the writer part of my head went, this is where they changed hands and brought in a whole new set of writers. And you could see the shift. And went,
yeah, because the story, you can just tell they're attacking it a different way.
Now, what's Doom? I feel like, what is that?
Doom was a video game.
Oh,
you played the video game.
But I thought they made a movie of it or something?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, really? I thought Doom, like, oh, cool. Like, Mars and all that. And then you guys talk about a movie, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of something else. But no, they made a movie of Doom?
No, straight up.
I love Doom. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Be prepared. Of course, I'm a fan of B movies. So, especially when it comes to sci-fi, I watch a lot of sci-fi. And the sci-fi I tend to lean towards is sci-fi horror. Like Event Horizon was a haunted house in space.
Like what Alien
would be a horror. Yeah. There's a bunch of them out there that are like that, which are just, they just mess with your mind.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. The actual horror movies, like, I mean, there's gore, which was solely designed just to do as much gore as possible.
Yeah.
People call it splatter porn. It's not particularly well written. They write it based on how much gore they can put it into it. I mean, there's a market for that. There's people that love it. I'm not one. I'm not a fan of Saw.
No. I mean, it's kind of fun to see, but it's not like it doesn't stick with you like the more. All right. Yeah. All right. It's just fun to see like all the different ways you can kill people and all the different mutilization things, and it's like, oh, this is kind of neat. But the ones with the better atmosphere and the more they stick with you longer because you think, man, that was really creepy. It wasn't just, wow, that guy got his arm cut off and he got beaten to death with his own arm. That was cool.
You're getting arrested. you just said how much you love to find different ways to kill people.
Not me personally. I like knowing of them.
Don't look at my search history.
Yeah, I've been told many times by Dale that the one thing about being a horror writer, the one setback is that his search history may not look the greatest because he's got to look these things. He's got to research.
Yeah, I guess he's got to.
But he's got to research horror, so it's there's a lot of death, there's a lot of horror.
How long does it take for a body to bleed out?
Yeah, like that doesn't.
When does rigor mortis set in?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah. Do you know what incognito is? An incognito tab? You might need to use it.
Yeah.
You might need to use that. Just keep it on.
Yeah.
So as far as writing goes, is there anything when you're trying to write, if you have like writer's block or just like you just have a period where like, man, I don't know, right? Is there anything that triggers your ideas more? Like, is there anywhere you need to be or anything you need to drink or any sort of comfort level that brings on these ideas?
It's funny. I find when I co-write, co-writing allows you to not have a writer's block.
Okay.
Because I often find as a writer, we write in little chunks, and you write until the idea peters out, and then you try and pick up or string it or stitch it together with another scene and whatnot. And so you get these little waves of the great idea, and then it peters into the next great idea. But when you have a co-writer, you can write that chunk
and then pass it on.
Like Tobin is great for it. We write on, we use a Google app, and I'll go on.
Is it like Google Docs? Is it Google Docs?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I'll go on and I'll write. He'll write first thing in the morning because he gets up real early, and then I'll go in. And then sometimes I'll get a text message going, dude, I did not see, that was not where I was expecting it to go, but oh my God, I went in this different direction. And so you don't have, it's very rare to get writer's block when you have a co-writer. When I'm writing my own stuff, I get it. Where I find I get my ideas, I'm a very visual writer. I would say that I relate a lot to Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, yeah.
The music is one thing that for me will always trigger a scene. If I hear a song and it relates to the character, it may not be the whole lyrics. It may be one line out of it. But then I flip the line over and go, oh, if it's said this way, it's a lot more sinister. There was one song called Alouette.
Okay.
And I was writing a werewolf story. And one of the main characters was this cheeky werewolf. And he walks around town singing under his breath Alouette. And it's Alouette, Gentil Alouette.
Yeah. When
you translate it, it's I will pluck your head, I will pluck your wings, and I went, whoa,
that's what that means?
Yeah.
That sounds so happy.
Yeah, doesn't it?
I sung that song just because I like it. I was like, oh my god.
Yo, you better not sing that in Quebec.
Driving.
That's nuts.
Driving for me, sometimes I'll worry an idea. I'll have an idea in my head and say, this doesn't feel right. This is too contrived. This is too cliche, and I have to find a different way to do it. And I always look at it like not a Rubik's Cube, but a Rubik's Cube with like 185 sides. And in my head, I'm turning the idea and turning it until I can find a way that you go, oh, that's the way in. And when I'm driving, it's my body is all the motor, and my brain is. Sue will often, my wife will often look over at me, and she goes, "You're writing, aren't you?" And I said, "Why?" She goes, "You've been quiet for the last 45 minutes," which is, you've known me.
Yeah.
Being quiet is not something I'm known for. Or shower.
Yeah, no, shower thoughts
are
amazing. Like, for anything. Like, anything you have troublesome, and it's the worst, because, like, you can't bring a thought into the shower.
No.
Like, you can't, like, oh, I'll just wait until the shower and I'll solve it. No, that's not the way it works. You'll be in the shower, and boom, like, there's an idea, and you're like, oh my god. Like, why didn't I think of this at some other point?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's that worry in your head. You've got a problem, and you'll get in there, and for some reason you start thinking of it. And I've done it where it's like, wow, and you stop. And then when you get out of the shower, you look like the bad guy from RoboCop as he's melting. Or you look in the mirror and go, The original RoboCop movie, not the new one.
Yeah. We've seen both. We saw the old one like a million times.
I like the old one.
Remember the drive down to like Myrtle Beach and stuff?
You know when the guy walks out, he's all melting, and they hit him with the car. Yeah, that's the guy. You look in the mirror, it's like I hope the idea lasts till I get downstairs and.
Well, they actually invented something where it's basically like a whiteboard that you can hang in your shower that doesn't erase.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work for me.
Stuff.
What the heck?
Yeah, it doesn't erase with steam and stuff. You just write it down, and then you can take it with you.
So chewing the end of my finger off and painting on the side of the wall in blood is not a good idea?
All right, I've already sold your idea. You're a horror writer. Now you can drive it home. People are going to think you're nuts.
The other thing that helps me a lot is... like I said to you, Tobin helps me out, but I'm part of ID Press, and there's 5 of us, and we'll sit down and we'll worry through ideas.
Yeah.
And each one comes at it from a different aspect. Like Tobin's more visceral. There's one Connie. She writes about witches, so she's all like turn of the century the Salem witch trials kind of. Yeah. Vibe, and then Pat, and she writes werewolves. You've read Pat.
Yeah, I've read Pat's books. I like Pat's books. Yeah.
And then there's Amanda, and she likes to play in old fairy tales.
Okay.
Japanese fairy tales, particularly.
Okay, that's a little interesting one. That's different. But hey, whatever gets.
It helps to have differing point of views, bouncing your ideas off of somebody. Sometimes just hearing yourself talk about the idea
out loud.
They don't even have to give you any input. Just them sitting there listening, and you go, "Thank you," and they go, "Well, what did I do?" I say, "Well, you helped me work it out."
Yeah, because once you say something out loud, it's out there, and you can kind of hear yourself saying it, and you're like, "Okay, that didn't come off. It's not really what I meant," or it's like, "Oh, well, that's easy. I can just move this around." Or writing it down, I find. Like when I'm trying to do write music and stuff like that. Yep. I find writing it down helps me visualize the way it's supposed to be instead of just humming it in my head or something like that. Yep. But yeah, it's whatever needs to get done. So you're not just your co-writer, but your ID Press team is kind of, you guys bounce ideas off each other.
Sounding board, a great sounding board that'll keeps you honest. They will very bluntly tell me when I've become cliche or I've become too stereotype or I have missed the point entirely. So when you're a writer and if you write, like I've got a lot of women characters that I write for. The first thing I'm going to do is bounce it off another woman so that they can say, did I do this right or does this sound not right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially because, like, need to be careful, man. You need to be careful with some things.
Because you don't realize that you go, okay, this makes sense for me, but you don't realize that it makes sense for you.
Yeah.
But not for that.
Yeah, especially when you're writing from, like, a completely different, like, gender. Like, it's a whole other side none of us can understand.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And I don't want to understand. I'm safe on this side.
I think I'd go insane. Yeah, like 1 minute like that and I'm mad.
Yeah, Robert's got a girlfriend now, so he's quickly figuring this thing out that it's sometimes I think it's happier on this side of the ball. Yeah.
There's an ad somewhere that said what's going on inside a woman's head. There's an actual comedian that disembarks what's going on inside a woman's head and what goes on inside of a man's head, and it's hilarious. But if you put it into sound. Inside a woman's head, they are categorizing everything and taking everything in. They are very neat and orderly. And
no doubt.
And inside a man's head is the ice cream truck theme song, and that's it.
Or it's like, have you seen the Simpsons movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know where Marge is talking to Homer and it's just the monkey with the cymbals.
Yep.
And it like puts them down and points back at Marge, and he looks back at her.
Oh, I'm like that when you talk to me a lot. You're like, thanks for that, Jimmy. I'm just like, yep. And on the inside, I'm like, I've been lost for the last half hour.
Yeah, guys, little insider tip: podcasts are actually longer than what we send out. It's just because I say something to Robert, and then there's silence, and he goes, "What?" Or he answers it like 5 minutes later. I'm like, dude, we're doing a show here. Like, where are you right now?
Radio doesn't catch the bobblehead.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah. Bunch of radio silence and whatnot. Right. Does anything that happened in the past or anything that happens around you, does that ever sneak its way in? Or?
So writing what you know, yes. So I don't pull in full scenes. I mean, I'm a people watcher, and I will watch people. And one of my favorite things is going to the mall and watching it.
It's so much fun.
I might get a character trait from somebody. They may not have that character trait, but by watching them, I can say, well, I kind of like that, because all of my characters start off as a stereotype, and then I try to ratchet it back. And the reason I start with a stereotype is because you know exactly how that stereotype is going to react in any given situation.
Yeah.
So then you ratchet it back to make them not a stereotype. But for me, little things will seep into, like on Archibald, little things like Christmas decorations will seep in, how we did things for Christmas decorations, food that we ate, but not whole scenes or...
Just snippets. It's just little ideas so you can plug them in.
Yeah, you know what? Writing is all about making it relatable. If you can make it relatable, or what I like to say is plausible. If you're writing fantasy or sci-fi, make it plausible. Make it so that that leap of logic isn't that big a leap of logic. So if you make it plausible and you make it relatable, then people are invested in the stories. What happens is they put themselves inside the story. And so you don't have to be as overtly gruesome or overtly scary or overtly fantasy, because they're already in the story. Because it's something they relate to in it. I may put in one they were doing mac and cheese with hot dogs in it. And I'm sure there's people out there that are going to read that and go, and automatically they're sitting in that kitchen with him and his mom.
Because they're like, hey, I've had that. I've had that at my own table.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Personally, I think hot dogs should stay out of mac and cheese.
What? It's great in mac and cheese.
No, dude. No.
I love it.
Nuh-uh.
It's so good.
Little cheddar smoky sausages. If you can get the little ones.
I mean, I can see that. But, like, I don't know. Once you get the little coating of cheese around the hot dog, it creates like this sort of texture on my teeth, and I can't stand it.
What
it's just
is
not.
Wrong with you?
I'm a texture eater, dude. I can't do it.
Texture something on it, right?
Now I know a new horror story to write for him.
Yeah. Anything with sensitive teeth,
like cheesy hot dog.
Like a chocolate bar attacking my teeth, that would scare the shit out of me.
Nice as a mac and cheese hot dog.
Oh God!
Don't you like cheddar smokies though?
Yeah.
Then what's your beef?
But
it's
on
hot
cheese
dog?
on the inside. Cheese on
pork,
the inside.
It's not beef.
Cheese on the inside. Well, I didn't even think about that, but I mean, like, the cheese is on the inside.
That makes a world of difference, doesn't it?
It does. It's encased.
Like, what side's your bread What side's your bread buttered on?
What side's your butter breaded on?
I can't always speak straight. It's rough.
I always say that to people. I'm a writer, not a spoker.
Yeah, that's the reason why you probably didn't do so well in English. They probably didn't speak too much. You're like, no, just put it on the paper. I don't need to speak it. This isn't the game I want to play.
Too much of my Newfie heritage coming through. I've lost the accent, but I retain the volume and the speed.
Yeah, that's why I think you're Newfie, Robert. Well, we do have family that.
Why, just because I talk fast?
Dude, when you're explaining it, sometimes when you're explaining something, I'll be sitting at the table and be like,
Yeah, everyone I've ever talked to, one time will go, I'll say something, and they'll go, all right, but can you do it again but slower? And I'll be like, okay, fair enough. And it feels so slow that when I have to talk like normal speed, I feel like I'm dragging on, and I just want to get to a point already.
Yeah. You feel like you're Quicksilver in the X-Men movie.
Yeah, because to me it's like normal speed, and everyone else is like, you've gone way too fast. I heard like 3 words, and I'm like, just hear faster.
Just hear fast.
Modern day problems, Robert. Modern day solutions. Just hear faster. Why haven't you figured that out yet? I don't understand.
If I can hear myself, you can hear me too.
No, because
you're just not trying hard
enough. Your brain's already thought of the. Never mind. You know what? I'm done.
There was a movie that had a piece that I found. I watched it and I went, oh my god! It made me love that movie so much more. It's Baby Driver.
Oh yeah,
I just watched Baby Driver, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's good.
But to me, the thing in that movie, the one tiny little spot in the movie that said to me that this was this was a movie from a really good book that I need to read, is the Baby Driver's guardian, or his guardian father, or whether a wheelchair bound mute, he couldn't talk.
Yeah.
And the thing he wanted to make sure is when he made the toast, they put the butter all the way to the edges, and they went through and he made sure he did the hand motions for it.
Yeah.
And went, that's the little tiny attention to detail that you go, wow, yeah, okay, you got me there.
Yeah, no, and that's probably one thing I'll never understand is that watching a movie from a writer's point of view is you notice different things. It's just like you're layering it probably the way you watch it. You're essentially watching a movie and reading it as it was a book. Just the same way as you read a book and you watch it as a movie. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it flip-flops in your brain.
Yep.
So it's not really your style, or I don't know if it is your style, but from what I've noticed about your books, it's not really your style. But I wanted to bring something in just because it's Halloween related and just because it's something that I always ask people every time we talk about the subject. When it comes to, like, supernatural things, like from beyond the grave, obviously, what is your belief system on stuff like that in the real world? Like, what's...
Oh, good question. Do I believe in monsters, as in, like, zombies and stuff? No, we've got enough real-life monsters walking amongst us. All you need to do, unfortunately, is to go on Twitter and on Facebook and scroll through a couple of comment sections, and oh my god, there's monsters galore in there. You look at the news and Amber Alerts and stuff. There's enough real-life monsters in the world that make vampires and werewolves not scary anymore. But do I believe in ghosts and goblins and like ghosts and stuff like that? I'd like to, but I've never seen one. So
it'd be cool if they were real.
It would be cool.
I wish.
I kind of like the idea that there's this the essence of you don't ever go away, right?
Yeah.
That the essence that a ghost is essentially an echo of yourself in the real life, in continuing on after you were there, an imprint. I often say when I love old houses, and I'll walk in an old house, and other people will go, "It's just an old house." And when I walk in, I'm listening for the footsteps from the past. I'm touching the wall because that's where people, like generations of people, have touched that spot. And so it's kind of like a ghost, but it's hard
to explain. It's more of a being. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's just kind of like this has been people's whole lives. It's been everything people have, like, this has been like their whole life spent in this house, and they've had all their memories in this house. So you walk into the house and you feel like you don't know what's happened. You want to know like all the memories people have had in this house and all this, and that's kind of like a ghost.
Yeah, it's like your existence is like, to put it badly, like smoke. And if you've ever been into a person who smokes a lot, into their house, that smell is permeated. It's in the walls. It's in the curtains. It's discolored the paint.
Our whole family.
But, so when you live in there, that life, to me, I guess my belief system is that life emits its own type of smoke that permeates the walls. It permeates like a favorite vehicle. It permeates an item, and it sticks to it, right? And it stays there. We can't see it with our eyes. Or feel it, but you want to.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's crazy because like when I wrote this question, I wrote it at 5:00 this morning after a dream I had last night, and yeah, I'll get into that in a second. But it's funny because I asked you in more of a general sense of just like, do you believe in ghosts, and you just took this question and like you expanded to it. I didn't even think, like, what you just answered, I didn't even think about when I wrote the question. Like, I didn't even think about that. You know what I mean? So that was actually a crazy good answer. It brought, like, a whole, like, kind of, like, memories and stuff like that is what you feel, and, like,
yeah.
That was nuts. That wasn't even, like, that was, like, a better answer than I could have written to my own question.
But sometimes I surprise myself.
But my dream last night, I had a dream, I won't get into too much details, but I had a dream where we were in a setting almost,
Who's we?
Our family.
Okay.
And Granny was there, who just recently passed over the last year and a half or so. And it was crazy that I'm like she was like real, like she was there, right? So like I went through that whole dream with her and stuff like that, and then I woke up and I'm like, that was weird, right? And it was almost like the room was dark and I felt like ominous. I'm like, this is just a weird feeling.
I've had dreams like that. You wake up and you're just like,
I've dreamt of like other people that have passed, and like I've had them in my dreams, and then I wake up and I'm like, this is weird. Like this is just a weird, like outer bodily experience almost. So that's when I wrote my question. I'm like, man, like I gotta ask him. Like I gotta ask a horror writer what he thinks of ghosts, right? Like I've got to. Like it's gotta be a question.
That dream world and ghosts, it's a whole different story too. When you come out of a dream, there's a residual.
That's what I was almost feeling.
It's like a feedback.
Yeah.
There's a feedback after you come out of a dream like that doesn't leave you in a hurry.
It's just a whole lot different when it's someone that's passed, like someone that it's gone, and then you just had a real life experience with them in a dream, and you're like, that was weird, right?
My wife's had that where she's dreamt about her dad and woke up and she could smell his cigarette smoke.
It's weird. It's super weird. Like it's just weird things that your brain, like it's just like all a dream is your like your subconscious part of your brain triggering another part of your brain to pull from that. I read a fact one time that every face you see in a dream, even though you don't recognize it, it's someone you've seen. Because your brain can't make up. Your brain can't make up new faces. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Your brain's not strong enough to make up new faces.
Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah, so you could have seen this person for a split second from 20 yards away, and your brain has captured that face, and now is using it either against you or with you or in your dream.
But the weirdest part of that is, what if you see a monster in your dream? Apparently, I can't make out faces. So you see a monster's face.
But it's not a face.
Does that mean that monster at one point actually came up and attacked you? That's creepy, because that means you didn't remember it.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I used to have nightmares that I was being chased by Bigfoot.
Okay.
Through the trees and stuff like that.
See, for stuff like that, the way I think about that for monsters and like creatures like Bigfoot and whatnot, I think about it as like you've probably seen either a documentary or a show or something that had that monster or creature in it, and now that exact, or maybe not exact, but that's the image your brain's using. You know what I mean? Your brain's just a storage file of faces and names and stuff. So it's just dumping. You just open that file. That's all you've done. That's all you've done with your brain, right?
I remember a dream where I was so scared. I was sitting in my room, just sitting there, not doing anything, and I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and I was so certain that this was someone that was going to come up and murder me for no reason at all. I went to go run to the door. I don't even know where I was going to go. If he's on the other side of the door, where am I going to go? But I felt like I needed to get there. And I started running, and you got that thing where you're running, but you're not moving. And then I just kept going, and then I just started crying, and I sat there, and I was just bawling. I'm like, I'm gonna die. And then it's just you. You open the door, and you're like, oh, dinner's ready. And I'm just sitting there like a pool of my own tears. And then you just walk away, and I'm like, what just happened? And then I wake up, and I'm like, what the hell was that? That leaves you more
confused than anything. You wake up, and you're like, what the hell was that?
I was like bawling. I was like, I'm dead and all this. And then you open the door, and you're like, yeah, dinner's ready. Come down. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, mine was definitely from when we were when I was younger. There was a TV special or TV movie about Bigfoot, and Bigfoot was attacking these people in this cabin and reaching through the windows and stuff like that, and that scared me.
Yeah, well, that would. That's what a 9-foot hairy creature.
It's funny how when I used to watch the horror movies, there was one about a griffin attacking a town, and I finally did find it, but it wasn't really a griffin. It was psychedelic or something like that. But the vampire movies never scared me.
Really?
I liked watching them. There was one called House. There was one where the vampire moved in next door. I think it had Michael J. Fox in it.
Okay.
And it was a good movie. I liked that one. I watched Salem's Lot, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, okay.
I watched Nosferatu, and went, eh. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie. I enjoyed them. I watched Frankenstein, and one thing I watched as a child when my aunt and uncle come up, my uncles come up, and they let us stay up late, and we watched War of the Worlds.
Okay.
When we used to live in the city. That scared me silly. That machine going, and then people going.
That's terrifying.
But
you know
werewolf movies scare me every single time.
Really?
Zombie movies?
It depends on how well they're written.
It depends on how well
zombies can come off just as dumb.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A
good zombie movie will give me the willies, but a good werewolf movie will scare me.
Really? Now, are those your favorite?
Yeah,
because they've captivated what you want. You want to be a little bit frightened. You know what I mean? I'm not a huge horror movie guy. For me to watch a horror movie, it needs to be a good story. I can't just watch something and get scared. It's not worth my while. So I've recently been thrown back into horror movies with the resurgence of the It movies. It makes me want to read the book. It makes me want to read Stephen King's book. Just because it's very interesting to me, the way that it is. But you get movies I don't know, any of the horror movies in the last 5 years that are just haunted house, haunted this, and then jump scares. I'm like, it's not a movie to me. I just paid to get scared. It's not worth my time. You know what I mean? But it needs to be a really good story. That's why I like the older horror movies better. Where they're not as scary, they're not scary at all, but they're a cool story, like Halloween. That's probably it's more of a thriller than a horror movie per se. But that's my favorite because they're awesome.
Nightmare on Elm Street's always a good watch.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Any of them, they get
Friday
popular.
the 13th, those. I like those movies because they're cool. Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers actually scares the shit out of me. That's a scary movie.
That's from Harvest Organs, right?
Yeah, that's a scary movie, just straight up. But.
Damien is a terrifying movie.
Yeah.
There's one where I think it's in Damien, or it might be another one where they look up the stairs, and at the top of the stairs there's this rocking chair, and it's rocking by itself, and there's nobody in it, or a ball comes bouncing down the stairs, or those are the ones that this demonic thing. Those are scary too. The Damien ones really scared me. Poltergeist, to a certain extent, not too bad. The Gate.
Okay. Yeah. Just mediocre almost, or
Yeah,
they're scary enough to get to your point.
Yeah. They're a great Halloween movie.
So I got a surprise for you, as you might have seen just walk in. We're gonna play a little game here in a couple minutes. Just a little fun to cap off this Halloween special. I will ask you though, if you know me or know Dale, you know that we watch a show called Hot Ones, and at the end of each episode of Hot Ones, they make people pump themselves up. So I'm gonna get you. While I make sure I've got all my notes ready for this game, I'm gonna make you do that. Tell us about your books. What books do you have out now? What's your next move? Tell us.
Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
I told you before, I'm part of ID Press. We specialize in stories that bend the boundaries of genre. We talked to an author who was trying to sell a ghost story, but it was a romance ghost story. And romance publishers told them they couldn't publish it because it was a ghost story. Ghost horror publishers said they couldn't publish it because it was a romance story. And we went, and we knew enough writers at the time that we went, oh, you know what? That's a cool idea. An anthology of stories written by people who don't normally write in that genre. Yep. So the first one is Purgatorium, the Element of Horror, and it has a number of authors in there that don't normally write horror. There's one lady who writes a romance, and she did a version of Elizabeth Bathory, which is The Countess of Blood, and did it like a Harlequin romance, and oh my God, was it good.
That's pretty cool.
There's one about a carousel from another lady who doesn't normally write horror, and then there's some, like myself and Tobin, have got horror stories in it. Yep. In fact, there's one story in there, if you look through it close enough, there's nods to all the other stories in the book.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a little kind of game for you to go. Then the second time around, we did an anthology called Eleusinor, the Element of Romance. I don't like romance. I don't read it. It doesn't mean I'm not a romantic guy. I'm a very romantic guy. And in horror...
Don't worry, ladies. He's taken. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
In horror, I do write romance in horror, but doing a complete story with romance doesn't appeal to me. Hats off to the people who can do it. I can't. But they talked me into putting it, and it's a poem that I put in there. But again, it's not... Tobin described it as a romance anthology that is accessible to everybody. There's something in here for every type of reader.
It's the romance for dummies kind of. It's if you want it, you got it.
Yeah. There's some really good romance. There's some vampire romance. There's all kinds of stuff in it. We have the third anthology coming out shortly. We just finished the cover design, working on the interior artwork and the final edits, and it's Nefarium, the Element of Crime.
Perfect.
And again, stories normally written by criminals. For my own horror writing, I had a werewolf book that I finished. I'm not sure, my first foray into it, I'm not sure that it's going to go anywhere. But Tobin and I have two series, one about it's called Revelations. Yeah. It's about the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and the whole premise is, what if the Horsemen of the Apocalypse rediscovered their humanity, and when it came time that God called for the apocalypse, they said no. And that's the premise of that story. And the other one is about, we throw in our hat full into the Gothic, and we say, what if Frankenstein's monster was still alive and living in an old age home in Belgium?
Okay.
And so it's a story about him and his quest for immortality.
That's pretty cool.
So those are the two horror ones. I'm working on a sci-fi dystopian one. Tentatively it was called Left Behind, but somebody else has used that, in which the mass humanity has left Earth. And it was based on I watched a TV show, and they were talking about what if the asteroid's coming, could we get all the people off the Earth? No, you couldn't. You had to go to a lottery. And it was all about where would we go and leaving the Earth. And the story is, what about the people that had to stay behind, that didn't win on the lottery and had to live in what was left of the Earth at the time?
Yeah.
I write middle grade ghost stories, Archibald and the Gentleman 3. He has a sequel called Archibald and the Witches of Woodstock Hollow, which I'm currently writing. Archibald and the Gentleman 3 is in the hands of a couple of agents. I'm waiting to hear whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I've heard you've had a big push on that one.
Yeah. Lately it's getting lots of rave reviews, but unfortunately rave reviews don't translate into agent.
No, you need the right person to review it. Yeah. Sadly, you can have 500 people say it's amazing, but until that agent finds somebody they know that says it's good, it doesn't mean anything to them, which is terrible.
Oh, exactly.
But it's the job. They got to make sure they're not selling crappy books, right? So.
And I'm a big fan of Charles Dickens, and I said there's too much SpongeBob and My Little Pony Christmas stories when I was trying to read them to my girls. So I wanted to write something that was more in line with Twas the Night Before Christmas and the Christmas
Your classics, like your
classics. Yeah. And that's what the Good King is, a retelling of Good King Wenceslas from the point of view of his page. It has a sequel, The Three Ships for Three Kings, which follows the Wenceslas family 3 generations later. and about bringing the remains of the three kings to the Cologne Cathedral.
Any of those you'd be interested in reading, Robert? Do you think I can? I think I've got a pretty good insight that I can get you a book.
I pretty much read anything, to be honest.
I think one you'd probably like is the one he mentioned about the Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
That one sounds really cool.
That's
actually
right up your alley.
That sounded really cool.
Yeah,
we're in the process of writing the second book to that. The first one's finished. We fell in love with some of the characters, Tobin and I. In fact, there's one scene where we're on the computer and we're writing, and he texts me and goes, "Good Lord, dude, I'm in tears." And I said, "So am I."
So the last question I'll ask you is one I didn't want to leave behind. After everyone has listened to how many things he's written or helped written or read or everything like that, do you have any advice to people who want to write? Like, do you have any just words of wisdom to anybody who would want to write? Like, just be an author in general?
I always say that to be an author in general, fall in love with the story, write the story all the way through. Rules. There's all kinds of writing rules out there. There's rules for each genre that if you want to write specifically in that genre, you're going to have to follow. I tend to think that all those rules are meant to be broken if you are really good. If your writing is good, you can break whatever rules you want. To me, the only rules of writing are the basic rules of grammar, spelling, punctuation.
Make it look like you're supposed to be.
Don't get so wrapped up in your own writing that you can't hear somebody else's review.
Yeah.
The other thing is take all reviews with a grain of salt.
Perfect. All right. So now we're going to put the horror, like Happy Halloween, everybody. We're going to put the horror aside and everything. We're going to play a little game with Dale. A little inside information about Dale. He considers himself to be a cider king. What the hell is that? That's a bug. Sorry. That scared the shit out of me. So yeah, he considers himself to be a cider king. If you are friends with him on Facebook, you'll see him reviewing ciders. More likely bashing them than enjoying them. I think there was one on the weekend that you said smells like peach farts and tastes like peach farts.
Yes.
Yes. It's honestly hilarious. So I have a little game, kind of inspired by Good Mythical Morning. We're gonna blindfold Dale. I'm gonna make him taste 8 ciders I have here with me, with the little glass that we brought out. I'm gonna get you to A, guess the flavor.
Uh-oh.
B, guess what type of cider it is, and I do have information that you have tried all these ciders.
Uh-oh.
And C, rate it. And I'm gonna see which one is we're gonna crown the best cider here today on our favorite stuff.
All right.
All right. So Robert, if you can blindfold him. Actually, funny enough, Dale, I'm gonna blindfold you with a toque. I had a sleep mask that I was given as a joke, and
you couldn't find it?
No, I couldn't find it. You helped me. Yeah. Just make sure it's covered his eyes and everything. So, can you see through it?
Here. Okay, that's better.
Yeah? Perfect. So I had a sleep mask that was a fuzzy unicorn sleep mask, and I was gonna put you in that, but I couldn't find it. I thought that would have been hilarious.
I'd worn that. Right. I was at the Muskoka Novel Marathon, and I wore the Lorax mustache around the whole time.
All right. So Robert, you just
look pretty. All right.
Yeah,
okay. Am I allowed to smell them?
Yeah, that's fair game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
fair game.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You can hear it if you want to. Like, and then you stop seeing it.
All right, so excuse me.
The groan of despair as the can is open.
All right. Side number 1. So I'll tell you what they are afterwards.
All right.
And I gave you water there just to clean your palate. We don't want any cross contamination.
Are you marking down the?
Yeah, I'm gonna write everything. I'm gonna go Robert right down.
I thought we were going into hot wings.
Wait, what the?
No.
All right. What am I writing down?
Write down what his guess was.
All right.
Yeah, everything here. Okay, cider number 1. Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
In fact, give me enough to actually sip it.
I'm starting to get thirsty already.
All right, cider number 1.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's a pear cider.
So that's the flavor guess.
Were you taking a sip too?
Yeah, they're my ciders.
That's a Summersby.
Okay. Now, what is the rating? Out of 10. We'll say out of 10.
That's the Summersby pear, isn't it?
I'll tell you at the end.
For me, Summersby's too sweet. I don't mind it. If I'm going to rate it out of 10, I'm going to say it's probably, based on the fact that I find it too sweet, I'm going to say probably a 7. It's a good. It doesn't have a horrible aftertaste. It's it doesn't have a horrible aftertaste, but it's just too sweet for me. But you can actually taste the flavor. So I say it's a 7.
Hey, what do we do with leftover cider? Yeah,
we're gonna down that because we don't have anywhere to put the.
But wait, won't the taste of the other ciders get mixed up with this taste of the ciders left over in that glass?
No, I'm gonna use his. I'm gonna use this water here.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, and then he's gonna use that water to clean his palate so that there's no cross contamination. Because once you start tasting a bunch of cider, they're all kind of blend together.
Not that I would know, but around 8, they all start to taste the same.
Around 8. Dump that into the cooler.
Around 8 man cans.
Man can. Yeah, can you explain the man can?
There's 2 types of cans. There's the small, the regular sized beer can, and then what they call the tall can. And we were at the cottage for a fishing weekend, and we all brought cans because you don't want to drop glass on the rock around the cottage. So we all brought these man cans, these tall cans. Like my buddy Jeremy brought his Canadian in a tall can. I have my cider in a tall can, and then the one guy brought in this flat of the small cans. And as I carried it into the cottage, I went, "Hey, who brought the Gerber cans?" And it's stuck since then. It's man cans and Gerber cans.
All right.
TJ does not like this one. He took a sip and that was a look at this.
Yeah, I think it's about $1 for them.
He did.
I did pay for them.
He did not like that cider.
Ooh, okay. There's mint in this. Yeah.
Dale doesn't like it either, newsflash.
That's that one with the mint in it. It's Brickworks. It's mint and peach mint or something like impeachment. Is it?
Is that your guess?
Brickworks
is a company. That's the guess.
Yeah.
And the guess was
impeachment.
And
because it tastes nothing like peach, and you can get a hint of the mint. You don't taste the mint, but it hits you in the back of the nose.
And what would you rate that out of 10? Should we make it out of 5?
Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of the Brickwork stuff, so I would say it rates in about a 4. I've had worse.
Are you making graphs?
I don't know. I actually made a graph, and now I'm just kind of rolling with it. I don't know what's happening. I got the information down. Don't worry.
You give the kid my phone for 5 seconds.
Hey.
Am I running you out of time?
What? No.
Okay.
Into the cooler you go.
This was my favorite part of whatever. I had to.
I like the idea when you go into, there's some places you can go and you can get a flight. I'm not a beer drinker, but I like trying beer. And you can get a flight of beer, and it has like 4 different types of beer. And I love that idea. Regardless of whether the beer is good or not, the idea is fantastic.
You go with me.
All right. Cider number 3.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Not a lot of odor on that one. Bit of appley. Maybe I got some mint left over in my mouth.
Did you need more of the cider to taste it?
That's Strongbow Gold.
Strongbow Gold is what you're getting?
Yep.
Flavor is probably apple. Strongbow Gold.
Yep. And I would say that's a strong 8. I don't mind that one.
Robert doesn't know. I don't know why you handed me.
Here, this one down.
Okay. You said Strongbow Gold and sent Robert for a loop. He didn't know what to do.
I don't know.
It mustn't be. Summersby is a great cider, I find, over a whole pile of ice. because it cuts down on the sweetness of it.
I had Somersby on tap, and by far it is the greatest
on tap.
I've ever tasted.
It is really good. I find that Strongbow is the Strongbow dry on tap is better than the Strongbow in the cans. There's a cidery called Spirit Tree in Caledon.
Okay.
And I like their cider better when I go to their place and drink it out of the tap than out of the bottles from the liquor store.
What did I have is written down? What did you do? You fucked this whole
I didn't do anything. Don't worry.
My list is all over the place.
Don't sweat it, bud.
So I have a list of the cider.
The list now goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's alright. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Drinking an Egyptian.
Okay, I've never heard of this.
No.
Give you a little hint. Then again, I don't drink ciders, so I drink them when I'm at sales.
I know cider's been watching the Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's the only thing I know cider.
I got drinking cider because I didn't like beer, and I tried for years to like beer, and I just didn't like beer, and I needed something that I could drink with the guys at ball tournaments that wasn't. I get so tired of the coolers because they were way too sweet, and they were like 7-8%, and so if you're drinking one-on-one with the guys, you're done far beyond when they are. And I'm not bringing a bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine
to a baseball game.
Yeah.
So you guys bring a glass?
What? I don't know any ciders. I can say that for any of them. What does it matter?
You've never heard of this one, eh?
I figured I'd give you a little hint, because it's probably more obscure on the list.
That was tart. That was nice. It didn't have that stupid aftertaste that I find a lot of artisan ciders have. This they call it tart, but it doesn't. To me, it tastes like tannin, like leather. That doesn't have that. That's not bad. Is it that rude? It's called apple rude or something like that. Yeah. It's got a big apple on the front of it, and I think it's.
So I'm assuming apple would be again the flavor.
Yeah.
The thing with apple cider is that mostly it's made of apples. So you do get different flavors, but
yeah.
So like his guess was apple. Yeah.
And ROOD.
And what do you rate that out of?
That was not bad. I would say that's a good 7.
That's a 7. All right.
I tend to rate mine on my drinkability factor. How many of those could I drink before I would go?
That's the way you should. That's the way you should rate it. Like I've had things that you've given me, or I've had like IPA beer that I'm like, you know what? For an IPA beer, this isn't bad, but I couldn't see myself drinking a 6-pack.
Yeah. There's some ciders where I went, you know what? As a 1, I didn't mind that.
Yeah, exactly.
Who makes it? Growers makes a seasonal one, and it's in the plastic bottles. I wish they would do theirs more in the cans or bottles again.
Yeah, Growers cider has a 2-liter bottle.
And they say you can heat it up, and I'm not sure about that. And I go, over ice I could drink 1, but the too much cinnamon and stuff in it, it's like, okay, after 1 it just gets a little too much.
I can't even relate to these conversations about alcohol and stuff.
You can't, or
no, I can't. I'm on the outside listening in.
Oh, this one's sweet. It smells good. It smells like apple. Wow, that is very sweet.
It's so hard during these guessing games when someone else is guessing and I know the answer. Because I'm like, yeah, I want to help you out, but I'm like, no, that's not.
That is very sweet. And no aftertaste.
It's the good ones that will stump you.
Yeah. Well, you mark this one down that I like this one, and I got to buy some more of these.
Star it. Robert is literally writing that down.
That's not one I'm familiar with. It might be Seagram makes one. I wonder if it's a Seagram. No.
What a weird name.
No, it's not. It's Yeah, I know the name of this one. That's good. I like that one.
Okay.
It's apple, definitely.
Okay, so apple, and what do you...
Sweetness, I'm going to put it the same as the Summersby.
Yeah. What do you guessing the actual brand is? I need a final answer here. I'm not letting you teeter.
Yeah, I can see the can. It's a black can with an orange diamond in the middle of it. I don't know. I'm gonna say. Yeah, let's go say Seagram.
All right. So Seagram's apple.
It's not, but
it's the first thing that's coming to your mind.
It's funny when you talk cider. There's some people that go, "Well, that's apple pop. It's not true cider." I'm going. You know what? If they call it apple cider, I'm going to treat it as apple cider. Do I like it? There you go. Yeah. Do I care? Yes, I like stuff that's made out of real apples. Sometimes the stuff that they call apple pop is every bit as good, if not better.
Do you remember the PC green apple pop?
Nope.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff was so good.
I made mock teenies out of those, and I mixed it with there was a green apple liqueur. And I mixed it, and then I brimmed it with the lumpy sugar.
Oh, okay.
It was really good.
Gonna get a little ASMR factor on this.
ASMR?
Yeah.
What's ASMR factor?
It's when someone makes noises really close to the mic, and they're supposed to sound nice and
satisfying for people.
Oh, okay. They crackling noises.
You know those people that talk like that?
Oh,
take away from the microphone.
I've never talked like that, so I don't understand.
I find it uncomfortable.
We've got about 8. So we got about how many? 1, 2.
This one plus 2 more.
This one plus 2.
This one smells just like it's a drier cider.
Oh, that's one of those animals upstairs.
They're alive.
Coming down to visit us?
They're alive. If we keep making noise, probably not.
That's not too terrible. A little tart. If you say it's an Ace cider, I'm gonna go crazy on that one. That's a pear cider. Is that Sir Perry's?
I'm not obligated to tell you.
Okay, there you go. There's my guess.
Is Sir Perry's? Did you say?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem with the ciders when they say it's a flavor. You can't taste the flavor. I've had one that was a pineapple one, and it smelled so much like pineapple, but tasted like shoe leather.
Which is not the flavor they were going for.
That's not. It's like they don't ever taste it themselves.
And what would you, out of 10 on that one?
I'd give it about a 6.5, maybe.
6.5. Getting technical.
Yeah. It's like they have these taste testers that are these 98-year-old chain-smoking men and women go, that's really good. I like the flavor of that one.
That's like some IPAs.
You just drank a glass of kerosene there, fella. Bottle that.
What's the next? Don't tell me out loud.
Obviously. Yeah, obviously.
Just point and go.
I had a beer on the weekend. Sam Roberts Band makes their own beer. And
really?
I took a swig of it, and I made a face, and my buddy Thomas goes, "Did that taste like a lot of banjo and piss?" I'm like, actually, yes, it did. He's like, I could see it on your face.
That's a writing description right there.
Like a lot of banjo.
When you use a descriptive word that is not normally associated with what you're doing, and people go, I know exactly what you mean. There's people out there that go, what does the banjo taste like? Oh, come on, you're missing the point.
I think you've judged that just because of the...
All right.
Just because it was a Sam Roberts Band, I think that's exactly what he was trying to
do. Banjo and piss.
My buddy went down. We went down to South Carolina, and he got. You can buy these packs like. Some beers and ciders have like 4 or 5 different brands in one box, and he bought Samuel Adams.
Okay,
and I bought Angry Orchard.
Angry Orchard's good.
They were very similar looking, and some of those Samuel Adams ones weren't too bad at all.
Oh, really? I didn't know they made.
This one smells beery.
I actually had a beer on the weekend that you guys have talked about. I think I had an Old Flame beer on the weekend.
I had a lot of beers on the weekend.
Whoa.
It was really good.
It appears.
Oh.
That's all you do on the weekend is drink beer.
Good God.
I also study while I'm drunk. It's really useful.
Oh. What the hell? That one's delicious.
I don't think he's being honest.
I put a little extra on your glass for you.
Oh, God, thanks very much. I really appreciate that. That one was bitter and had a horrible aftertaste, and it tasted like nothing.
Some would say it tastes like TV static.
It tasted like somebody was walking along and goes, look at all these apples I found on the ground from 1974.
Robert, doesn't this make you want to drink cider?
It kind of does.
I would say that's a strong 4, and I would say that they've got these ones that are cider 1, 2, 3. It's a really decorative can. Don't ever buy it because the can looks cool, because you will be disappointed every single time.
That's how I buy beers. Is when it's a decorative can.
No, you know what? That's forbidden.
What do you mean it's forbidden?
No, that's the can.
Oh, I was just like, what the hell? Am I
forbidden.
drinking beer wrong?
It's forbidden.
You're doing cider wrong, bro.
I'm curious. I like watching Rhett and Link, and how many times that they are so certain that they know what it is, and it never is.
And also, there's a thing that they proved that when you can't see it, it tastes different.
Yep. Especially if you can't smell it.
Yeah. I let you smell it because
I let him smell it. You didn't want to go in there and smell it.
Exactly, Robert.
Thank you.
Robert,
Thanks,
judge.
Robert.
We're also going to give you a percentage on how many you got right and wrong.
Oh, God.
If you don't pass, you lose your title of cider.
Oh, my
I
God.
thought we were going for capital punishment. We got it wrong.
All right, and the last one.
You got a lot of cider to drink tonight.
Yeah. I'm going to cap them all.
Can you?
Yeah, I'll find my way.
They have those things that are like plastic things you can put over your cans.
I was thinking like putting them in empty water bottles.
Hey, you know what? That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Tupperware.
No, empty water bottles, because then you're sealing it back up again.
Yeah.
They'll be a little flat. Sometimes the cider's better a little flat.
I might be love to.
I like ginger ale flat.
This one smells good. This is a pear one again. No, it's not. Mm-mm. That's a peach one. No, it is a pear one. That's a pear one. And that's a good pear one. Yeah, that's a good pear one, man. It's sweet though.
Yeah,
it's another sweet one.
Which is something you don't get in pear cider very often.
No. There's somebody else who makes one, not Sir Perry's, but it's Magners.
Okay.
I know it's not Magners, but I'm going to say it's Magners because I can't think of another besides. And I already chose Summersby, so. And I don't think Struggle makes a pear. Yeah, I'm going to say Magners just because.
And what's your rating?
I'd say that's a 7 too.
Yeah. Your favorite number was 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
the ones that I find are too sweet that I could drink over ice a lot because it didn't have a lot of aftertaste, a lot of kickback that said. Bleh.
Okay, so I'm going to line the cider. That's what you take.
My sunglasses off.
Your blindfold per se.
My toque-fold.
Just so you can see what you taste.
Toque-fold. That sounds dirty.
Oh, this is the cider.
Things you don't want to hear.
Okay, so I'm going to line them up to just show you what you tasted, and then I'll tell you what your favorite was, and I'll tell you how you got them wrong. Actually, hold on, let me line them up in order so it actually makes sense.
Nah, just do it like that. You know, I think
Okay,
All right.
I'm not doing
Pull it up.
You know, this toque's going to mess up my hair.
Dale's bald.
Oh, I thought you were going to throw a Canadian in there.
What do you think? What do you think Emily gave me when we went inside? I couldn't find it anywhere. She had to bring it.
Yeah, but
from your fridge. You can have it back.
Yeah, some liquor stores are going, "Whoa, nobody buys it." I buy it every time you bring it in, and I buy you out of it.
Okay, so your favorite one, which I really wanted to trick you, but your favorite one was Canadian. Give it an 8.
Good, and it is my favorite one.
Yeah.
So what, should we just start from the top and tell them what?
Yeah, so the first one you tasted is Summersby.
Yep. But it wasn't
pear.
pear.
You said it was pear, and it wasn't. And you gave it a 7.
It is apple.
It is definitely apple.
So I did get it. It was Summersby. Yep.
The second one, so I'll give you a big check mark on it, or I'll get you. So out of like 2 points available there, I'll give you 1. Okay. You didn't say pear, which I'm surprised because Somersby pear is very dry.
Yeah.
Then I don't know how liquid can be dry, but I guess I'll just never know.
Yeah, you just have to figure it out for yourself, dude.
That comes from wine drinkers. If you drink wine, you'll know the difference between a dry wine and a sweet wine.
Next, you tasted mint and basil Brickworks, which you did. You did get Brickworks right, and you got mint right. When you rated it a 4.
Surprisingly, when I tried that the first time, I saw it, and somebody had posted on my Facebook, one of my friends, and said, you should try this one, and I showed it to Jeremy, and I showed it to Grant, and we went, oh my God, and we were all tensed up. You know, right before you jump into the pool that you know is going to be freezing cold, we had that moment.
Yeah.
And we went, it's not as bad as we expected it would be, but it wasn't good.
It's a bit bad. The next you tasted Canadian. You said it was Strongbow Gold. You said Canadian was Strongbow Gold.
It was, blindfolded. It tasted sweeter than I'm used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was for sure when I put Canadian, because Canadian is Dale's favorite cider, as we just proved. Mm-hmm. And I figured he would get it right away. But when he said Strongbow Gold, I'm like, okay, well, that's his second favorite cider, so that doesn't surprise me.
Well, you got 3 of my favorite ciders there, I can see.
So local, what is that one called? The local, it's on the side.
It's called local press. Yeah,
they're terrible ciders.
Now you rated that a 7.
Did I?
That's the one you said was Apple Rude.
Oh,
that's how I was surprised. Emily's like, she hates that one. That's the perfect.
I've had some bad experience with some of their flavors.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just local press apple as far as I'm concerned.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just local. Skateboarding chick on it.
I think she's rollerblading there, TJ.
Oh shit!
Those are rollerblades, not a skateboard.
I can't see. I'm
gonna have to write her into a book.
She's wearing her hat.
No, it looks like she's wearing
it's an astronaut helmet.
Astronaut helmet.
Yeah, but it's not like why is
her hair down the front?
Yeah, it looks like she's almost wearing it on top of her head. Makes me uncomfortable.
So then you tasted Grower's Honey Crisp Apple.
Yes.
Which that's the one you said you gave it a 7, and you said it was apple seedling. You said we'll buy more when I've been informed that's your favorite Grower's flavor. So no doubt you're probably going to buy more.
Growers is one of those ones that is either really good or not so good. And their stuff is starting to be a lot more sweeter than I do remember it being.
Then you tasted Don't Poke the Bear, which you said was Sir Perry's. Again, you gave it... Your favorite word was pear for some reason, and I don't think any of these were pear ciders.
No, there was no pear. I can't see.
When you said pear for the last one, and you're like, man, it's a sweet one. And when I said, oh, you don't usually get that in pear ciders, because we were silently laughing over here when you kept saying pear. So the Growers one, it was apple crisp. Okay, so you got 1 point on local. If you notice, you only guessed 1 right out of 8, but.
Yes.
You only guessed.
Well, when I said you have 1, 2, 3 on the side of the can, that's what I meant. Is the local.
The local press. Okay, I can give you a point for that. That's not out of the question.
Don't Poke the Bear confused me.
Yeah, because you're like Sir Perry, and that's the one you said. I don't think it's Sir Perry's, but that's the one I'm going with.
Don't Poke the Bear is good. I like.
And you gave it a 6.5, which was weird. Which I found was weird.
I never said it was my favorite. It's good. I can drink a fair amount of them, but
I guess that's a 6.5 rating. So Growers.
If I'm gonna default, I'm gonna default to Canadian and the Strongbow Gold.
Yeah. Which are the best ones? So you got 0 points on Don't Poke the Bear because you said Sir Perry's and pear, and it's neither. Okay, so the Rose Gold Brickworks. You said it was forbidden, and you gave it a 4, because it is forbidden. It is awful.
Yep.
It is just downright bad, but again, you didn't really guess the flavor on that one, but forbidden, you said it's forbidden apples. It's an apple cider.
Yeah.
So, is
that right?
I find,
it's rosé.
I hate to say this, as much as I want to like Brickworks is local. I find them they don't taste like what they say they taste like, and I find them bitter. Now that's just my taste. Somebody else may go, well, I love this.
I don't like that rosé cider. I like other rosé cider.
I know people that love Mill Street beer.
I like Mill Street Organic.
That's the only one you said, right?
Yeah, that's the only one for Mill Street. And then lastly, Strongbow Gold. You said it was pear again. No. And you said it was Magners.
Yeah.
Which is no. So let's see. Out of 16 possible points, you got 1,
4,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yikes. 8.
50%. 50%. You
passed. You're the Cider King. So there
you know what? Did I pass in the ones that you know that I like? Rating wise.
Yeah. Other than that, I thought Don't Poke the Bear would have at least got a 7. 6.5. It's not that far off. I thought Summersby was going to get lower because of how you always say it's too sweet. But it's good. It's good, yeah. Other than that, yeah. So I would say you can keep your.
I was surprised by the local one.
That's what I'm saying. Emily's like, oh, he doesn't like those ones. It's like, okay, cool, because I didn't want you to like them all. I wanted there to be fluctuation, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I was surprised. You're like, man, this is good. I'm like, really? I didn't mean it to be.
The one that I really wanted to like a lot was the Brickworks Stadium Peach.
Yeah,
came out
I almost grabbed that one. Yeah.
At the Blue Jays games, and I went, I want to have this one. It's going to be good. And I had it, and I paid $11 for it.
All Brickworks have that same stale taste. They're all stale.
I keep saying it's tannin. It's not necessarily tannin, but it's stale. People say it's a tartness. It's not. There's an aftertaste.
It tastes like.
Anybody who's played baseball at one point has tied their glove, and you grab the strap in your teeth and you chew, or sometimes some people will just chew on it. There's that leather aftertaste on it, which is not a good taste.
I find it tastes like what's it called?
Shit.
Having never tasted shit, I know what it smells like, and if it tastes like the smell of shit, okay.
Carbonated water. I find Brickworks tastes like carbonated water. It's got that weird staticky aftertaste. I don't like it. So there you have it. Canadian is the best cider of all time, said by the Cider King.
It is.
Thank you.
I know people that don't like it, and they're entitled not.
They're wrong. He's the Cider King. You can't argue with the Cider King. It's over.
You're entitled to like or not like whatever the hell you want.
Not anymore. They have to go by this list. That's it. I'm sorry. You guys were all wrong. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Again.
Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun, guys.
Dale Long is a horror novelist, or we can say a creepy novelist.
I like to say that I write whatever strikes my fancy to write, but I tend to lean towards the spooky.
Perfect. He's with ID Press, and you can pick up which books are available. You said The Good King.
Good King's only available through Blue Heron Books in Uxbridge.
Okay.
Or I've got a box of them at my house. That's what happens when you self-publish. You have a box of books.
Yeah.
And Hallucinor and Purgatorium are available through Amazon, Kobo, and Kindle. And Nefarium is coming out. I'm not going to give a date because we are not finished yet, but we are close to the finish line.
Perfect. So if you like anything he said today, that's where you can find it, or that's what you can look forward to.
And check out other ID Press authors like Pat Llewellyn, Connie DiPietro, Tobin Elliott, Amanda Tompkins. I'm going to say she's going to curse me for saying her last name wrong.
Maybe we'll just won't let her listen to it.
I can never remember if there's a P in that or not.
Yeah, whether it's Tompkins or Tompkins.
Yeah.
So yeah, you noted on their genres too earlier. If you liked any of their genres, find their writings and hit them up.
And like I say, if you like somebody's writing, do a review.
Yeah, it's the best thing. It's the best thing that you can do for an author.
We love to hear when people like our writing, especially if we connect in some way. I've always liked to say when people read my writing and it causes them to react. If it makes you cry, if it makes you laugh, if it makes you afraid, that's why I write. It's for you to do that.
Yeah, you want the emotions out of it. Yep, for sure. All right, thanks for listening, guys. As always, you can find us on social media. And just a quick note about our social media. Considering it's almost November, you will see on this social media and my social media, you will find a link to my Movember page. If you guys have any extra money laying around, this is a great cause. It's just basically a donation to all men's health, whether it's mental health or cancer or any sort of sickness or anything other than that. I have a huge beard. I shave it. I grow a dirty ass mustache for a month. So that every time someone sees my face, they go, "What happened?" And I go, "Movember," and then they donate money. So yeah, if you guys got any extra cash, hit us up on OFS_podcast on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm T_G9988 on Instagram. Robert's Keenan Robert. Real simple. Oh yeah, Dale, what's your social media?
Twitter and Facebook on, I think ID Press is on Instagram. But I am at DLR Long on Twitter.
Real simple. I gotta get the simple.
Yeah, and I'm on Facebook as DLR Long or Robert Edgar Wolf.
Yeah,
and ID Press is